and welcome to another edition of Trader Talk TV. Today we have Ciarán from Experian in the office. Ciarán, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. And we'll talk to Ciarán in a minute, but I want to talk today about the ultimate programmatic signal, which happens to be Experian's data signal. But Ciarán, before we jump into how Experian works and how it integrates with the programmatic ecosystem, give us the detail about yourself, the role, and the company.
So I work for Experian Marketing Services here in the UK. I am responsible for all of our products. So whether that be our spatial products, our digital products, and our consumer data products. I've been at Experian for about 7 years. Before that, I've worked agency, brand, and sort of first-party data side at consultancy.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm sure a lot of our viewers would know who Experian is and they probably use it on a day-to-day process. But for those who don't, I'd love to get into the weeds around how the signal is actually built, how you kind of transform it into a digital signal, how it integrates into the programmatic ecosystem, and then finally about the measurement and outcomes. Now, obviously, the signal itself is built around an amazing consumer product, but give the viewers a bit of a detail about how you build it and what's involved.
Yeah, so we've got a long history in our consumer data. And it all starts with a person. So I draw a little stick man here.
Ah, great.
So there we go, even a little smile.
Ah, lovely.
And we're really known for our demographic data. So the who. We have got a bedrock of different data suppliers, but primarily we have the credit bureau data, which really underpins our product, which means in terms of quality of data, you can't suppress sort of that quality of data that's coming through the banking system, especially for things like age. Lots of people lie about their age at certain places. So actually, you don't lie to your bank about your age. So getting that information from that web source allows us really to build out lots and lots of other signals across the consumer. So we talk about who, and we talk about things like age and affluence and income and all of that rich data that describes who a person is. We can then understand, because we have their full name and full address, we understand where they live. So that's really key, actually. That drives a lot of things. And we have like the property types that they live in, which again drives a lot of different behaviors, whether someone lives in a new house or an existing house, a cottage or a farm, all of that, whether they're urban or suburban. So we understand the detail about where someone lives. We also have a partnership with a company called Reward Insight. So Reward Insight gives us really strong transactional data along their consumers. And we have a panel of about 4 million that allows us to understand like what people are buying and how they're spending their money, not just with a first-party data view, but across the whole retail organisation. And we're also bringing in CPG data as well. We have relationships with lots of organisations that have the research. So we have a one-to-one connection with lots of panel research, which enables us to really build that attitudinal segment and model that out to the whole of the UK. So this is a whole UK view of what someone's doing. So what, where, why, who, and also the when. So we have lots of trigger information. So when is someone likely to buy? What age are their children? So when are they in school market? All of this really gives that true 360 degree of a consumer in an offline world.
Yeah.
We use that data, we use the bedrock of the banking data to be able to build that really, really statistically significantly. And every single attribute that we hold is fully documented. So we understand the power of every single attribute that we build and add onto a consumer.
Yeah. And then you take that offline segment and that view of the customer consumer, how do you then map that to sort of a digital ecosystem? Like what's involved and how do you make that happen?
So that's the tricky bit. Right.
That's always a tricky bit, yeah.
That's the tricky bit. And we do that, and primarily we bring in household. So we come away from this individual consumer view here, and we aggregate that view at household. And we do that for 3 primary reasons. many devices in a household are shared. So connected TV are often shared between the whole household. You don't know who's viewing at the time you're putting that on. You might have some contextual information that you can overlay on that. Many purchasing decisions are actually done at a household level, even down to what you're going to have for your tea, how many times you have that conversation with your other half going on the way home. And then it's more privacy centric, actually understanding that. And we're really transparent about actually, we link that through to a household. We obviously have all of the individual identifiers that link to that household, but that's our primary key that we then bring into our our digital ecosystem. So then if I draw a little house over here, we then, through the data that we receive here, we have deterministic signals. Yeah. So we have some deterministic signals for IP address. Yeah. We have hashed emails. Again, that's a deterministic signal. Yeah. And we have mobile. So we have 3 deterministic signals which links into our household key. We then link that out using publisher data and data from SDK to allow us probabilistically to, one, update the IP address, because IP address, as many people know, is a transient identifier, lasts on average 11 days. It's not reliable in its own right. Made, UIDs, and the dreaded third-party cookies. So we use all of that and we resolve that into a household using various clustering algorithms. And we can utilize any of these different identifiers within that clustering algorithm to cluster back to the household. Right. Because we bring in various first-party identifiers, first-party cookie IDs from our publishers. And also, we also have our consumer-facing business. So we have Experian Consumer Services, and they link into here to give us signals from our consumer. Right, so you're using your own proprietary data signal as well as other... Yeah, so here's proprietary data and here's proprietary data. We've got a really, really strong target to grow the base of that in terms of our marketplace offering. So as this grows, we'll have more and more of our first-party data within our graph. So doing that links the two into the different identifiers. So you've got this consumer-led, rich data signals around who someone actually is and what they're doing and all of those signals, and then into the digital graph. So you resolve it into a household, basically, based on all this information here. Yes. And then talk about sort of use cases. I'll actually talk about the integrations first, because in Programmatic, you know, you guys are a go-to for, you know, data activation. Hence the reason why is the ultimate programmatic data signal, because everybody's using it. But how do you work then with the programmatic ecosystem? Like, is it pushed into DSPs? Are you pushed into, like, you know, data, CDPs, et cetera, or how does it work, generally speaking, from an activation piece? Yeah, so then we take this data, and depending on the identifier, and many of them use multiple identifiers, and we push that. We have relationships directly with SSPs, DSPs, as well as publishers themselves. Yeah. So we integrate into all of those environments using the relevant ID with the relevant signals, that the audience signals that they want here, and push those into the audience. Right. And let's talk about use cases, right? So typical campaigns, what does it look like and how do they use it? So let's just say someone from an DSP are using it. So they would basically ingest the Experian segment and put it in the campaigns. And give us a typical sort of use case. So there's 2 ways that typically the agencies or advertisers buy it at the DSPs. We have syndicated audiences that sit on platform that are readily available for everybody to purchase through those. And those are great if you've got a standard audience. And then over here, we've got in our main business, we've got an audience desk. Right. So the agencies will come across to our audience desk and say, actually, we've got a brief that's a bit more complicated. We need this segment, that segment, right? Yeah, okay, where it's layered. When you're talking about sort of the spend data that we've got access to, sometimes that's really complex. So someone like a Costa Coffee might want a segment that's really bespoke to them, that's a high coffee spender and they're outside the house, but they don't really spend a lot with that. So that's not really available in a syndicated off-the-shelf audience. So we will then build that audience and push that across into the DSP or the SSP, depending on where that's.
Right. So the publisher, I take it, is pushed into the ad server and it's activated against campaigns.
Yeah. So the publishers are using our data really, like, one is a big planning tool. So it's directly in their CDPs, so they can understand, really get into the skin of their audience when there's direct buys. So they can say, actually, we want to target this type of person and we have that, then we will go directly into the publisher so they can really get to the detail of.
And what about the curation stuff? Is that something you're excited about, or is it just another sort of integration?
It's another integration. So we are working with curation partners. So we recently signed with Audigent, a big curation partner. Our data will be going in there shortly in terms of making sure that we've got that curation and within our data. We work with Programmatic in a similar way in terms of being.
And would that be standardized segments in those platforms? So you've got the custom here, but like, does that all work together in tandem?
Yeah, it all works together because everything can go through the identity graph. And the pipes that we're trying to build here need to be able to deal with both custom segments and the syndicated audiences we've got on platform.
Brilliant. Let's talk about curation because obviously it's a big topic at the minute. How is that just another type of integration for you guys, or is there more of a strategic piece around that, or?
So we have recently signed with Audigent, a big curation partner. But again, that will work in the same way that we're working with the DSPs and SSPs. So the data will come through our pipes. So these audiences here and out into the curation to allow people to obviously buy that contextual with audience data combined package. We work with Programmatic as well. So again, doing some similar things in terms of Programmatic, where they understand like the audience as well as the platform that people are buying on.
Let's talk about the final piece here, because we've talked about sort of offline creation, digital activation, and then sort of execution here. But what about the measurement piece? Because that's always what everybody's going to be asking questions. Does this experience segment segment actually work in terms of measurement?
Yeah, I said that's the big thing, and this is fairly new in terms of what we're trying to achieve. So once you've got all of this information, you understand the consumer. You've got all of their identity data that's actually linked to a real life household, not just a made up household. Then that's when we start to look at measurement. So given my background is more CRM and customer level measurement, my key thing is outcomes. And also looking at ROI. So actually, that's what brands want to do. What is the uplift of the investment?
If I'm spending £10,000, what I generate? Exactly.
So outcomes for us is the key measurement, and actually linking all of this data, and especially this what data and the spend data through the identity graph. If we can get the signals. And this is a difficult bit, making sure that we can get the signals of who's actually being contacted within there. We can then start to measure ROI and incremental ROI to really understand the performance of.
And are you doing the measurement yourself, or is it just working with the various buyers to sort of do that?
So we are looking now. This is my next product that we're building.
Oh wow!
So this will be
exclusive here at Experian.
So we will be looking at more outcome measurement.
Right.
But we're also working with partners in terms of frequency, reach, and then obviously we've got attention.
Oh, of course. Yes.
So we've then got looking at how can we bring that through into looking at other measurement capabilities.
That would inform the measurement piece as well.
Exactly.
Right.
So that will be more of a partner.
Okay.
Offering that will go out with people to talk about.
Right. And when is that due out? Later in the year maybe, or?
Later in FY 2025.
Right, brilliant. And that's sort of informed by all of the offline
Yeah, all of this. So obviously it's really underpinned by what people are doing.
Yeah.
But actually you want to know the who.
Yeah.
Because how do you then look at a big holistic change to your campaign? Because it might be certain segments that have really changed.
Yeah.
And then you can then link it obviously to the why. So if there's been a big political shift, obviously we've had the general election and changes to the political ecosystem, you can see what the impact.
So this is an ongoing sort of this individual, or many sort of individuals are changing dynamically on a daily basis, depending on political or economic sort of consequences, or many different factors.
Yeah, this is sort of 95% population of the UK.
Right. Very good. And just talk about quickly about programmatic. How much of that is very important to your business? It's obviously we're now 10, 15 years into programmatic, but how much has that informed a lot of the sort of product development in the business?
Massively, especially in terms of the graph.
Yeah.
We've been in programmatic for some time, but we've actually been using partners to onboard our data.
Right.
Whilst we build up this graph at scale.
Right.
So this covers 80% of the UK population at our household level as well. So actually you need this at scale to be able to make programmatic buying work.
Yeah.
But we've been there and our audience has been available for some time.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for running through. Sorry, that was brilliant. We'll definitely have you back for when the measurement product actually comes live. But thanks for that insight. This is great. From like the offline production line of consumer view to the onboarding to the activation to the measurement. So it's great. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And that was Trader Talk TV, and we will see you next time.